punches manually as the manager. First thing you'll want to do is log into Paylocity and click on your main menu and go to Time and Labor. From there, as always, it's going to bring you to your manager dashboard with any alerts that you need to review. From here, you'll want to click on Time Card. From there, you will be able to select any of your employees and also select the date range. In this example, we'll be looking at John Doe's time card. If we want to manually add time punches, we can do it a couple of ways. First thing we'll want to do though is click on Add Punch, select the punch type and the day, what time should the punch have happened, and then we'll click on the magnifying glass to select the correct cost centers. So we know that this temp did not clock in properly when they were at NGRI and they were doing janitorial work. We also know that they missed all of their punches for this day, so we can check this box that says Add Matching Punch so that we can add some additional punch types for the same day without having to do the same process multiple times. So they started at 8 a.m., they took their lunch at noon. We need to add a supervisor note. Below that, you'll see it's asking if we want this to repeat. No, we do not. Do we want to include weekends? No, we don't need any of that. We're going to click on Add. Now you'll notice here it is, and it's got some flags on it, and we're missing some punches. So we need to go back and we need to type in the missing punches still. So they came back from lunch at 12:30 and clocked out at the end of the day at 3 p.m. Okay. Now we need to make sure that for every manual punch that we do, we have to add a supervisor note because we should not be doing manual punches. The way to do that is to right-click on the box that needs a supervisor note and select supervisor note. Same thing over here. Okay. Now that we've added in our time punches that we're missing, we've added in the notes, we are going to click on Save. If there was anything wrong, a red error message would have populated so that we could fix any errors. So now that we've learned how to manually add a punch or multiple punches, let's look at how we can edit a punch. So let's say we're looking at John Doe's record and we notice this is not correct. He did not work until 2 p.m. This temp was actually done working at 10:30 a.m. So we're going to type in the new time. And again, we're going to double right click on it and we're going to add a supervisor note. Okay, in this example, the client told us that this employee walked off the job at 10:30 a.m. So we're going to update that. And again, we're going to click Save. Okay, so now we've shown you how to manually add a time punch for an employee and how to edit a time punch. Let's say an employee showed up to a job site and the client sent them away. We would need to pay the employee show up pay. So the way to add show up pay to an employee is in the drop down to select show up pay and then select how many hours of show up pay they are owed. In California specifically, show up pay is calculated based on 50% of the expected hours the employee was scheduled to work. So if an employee was originally scheduled to work 8 hours by the client, but when they showed up, the client changed their mind or needed to cancel them for any reason, but the employee showed up to the job site, they would be owed 50% of the total hours, which would be 4 hours in this example. So we'll type that in. And again, we're going to right click. We're going to add a supervisor note. And we're going to save it. And then again, click on save. And there we go. Now it's been saved for show up pay. You can do that for a variety of different things, but that is how you would go about it. Now let's look at how to approve shifts. We want to do this every single day so that we are staying on top of the approvals. So here we can do it by employee, and we'll click on shift approvals. Our system's having a little bit of a problem here. So we're just going to refresh the screen. Okay, so now again, we'll make sure we go to the employee that we want to approve their hours. We'll click on shift approvals, and from here we can look through and we can say, yes, I can confirm this employee did in fact work those 2 shifts. We're going to not approve that one. I need to review that one further. It doesn't have all of the cost centers assigned. We can see that these 2 line items are for the same day from 8 a.m. to noon and then 12:30 to 4:30. That's correct. I also know that this employee did work these days shifts. So I'm going to select the ones I want to approve. I'm going to, in my drop-down, select approved as long as they all have the correct cost center information. So you want to double check that. And as you notice here on this one, it doesn't have the cost center. So I want to make sure I assign the cost center. Make sure it's updated. They're a temp. They were working, oops, let me go back here. MFCN, so there's 2 different sites here. So let's do one at a time. This one's MFCN, and it's missing the cost center. So we need to fix that first. Okay, so we select our site. We select what they were doing that day. Okay. Now for the other one, before we approve it, we want to edit it as well. That was Bradshaw Rancho. Okay. We're labeling. Okay, now that we have all 4 of those updated, we can select them and we can approve them. And then you'll want to click on save. If you see something that is not approved, so this one, for example, we're not going to approve that. You'd want to come in and select not approved for the one you checked and click on save. Okay. Now you can see in their system when it refreshes in just a couple minutes which ones have been approved or not approved. You can also, in your preferences on this page, you can select what you want to see on that chart in front of you. We always pay to the actual minute. We don't ever round, so you always want it to be set to actual. Time card format. I personally like to see all days. You can select by work week if you prefer. Cost center, I like to see all of the cost center information, so I leave it as all. We want to see all of the totals as they calculate. You can also check the box so that it has to display their photo from when they clocked in or out, and then display employee approvals. You can display if they have approved the time or not, and you'll see those in the headers up there. Okay, that was a general run through of how to manually add punches, manually edit punches, and how to approve punches.